Cassie Calvert here, and I am joined today by the Ravens' new defensive coordinator, Mike Macdonald. Let me start by saying congratulations.
Thank you. It's great to be home.
This time last year, did you have any idea that just a year later you'd be sitting here getting ready to be officially introduced as the Baltimore Ravens' new defensive coordinator?
Yeah, no shot. I mean, we were 10 toes in Ann Arbor, and we bought a house, so we're trying to sell that now. So, but never in my wildest dreams. No, it's a dream come true to come back.
Those are some of the real-world logistics people don't
No
think
doubt.
of, but you've had quite the year. To recap, named Michigan's defensive coordinator, you got married, you helped lead Michigan to a Big Ten title, an appearance in the college football playoff semifinals, and now back in Baltimore as the defensive coordinator. Has any of that sunk in?
No, it hasn't. It hasn't. There'll be periods throughout the day where I'll be like, is this a dream, or like, when am I waking up to this whole thing? So yeah, it's been an awesome year, and man, it just, like, we're back here, we're having this conversation. It seems very surreal, but
I'm sure it seems
really
like
excited.
Seems like this year will be hard to top for sure.
No doubt.
So you spent 7 years here, 1 year in Michigan. Why did this feel like the right move for you right now?
Well, when the opportunity came up, this is home for my wife Stephanie and I, and this is where we met. We've been here for 7 years. All our friends are here. This is the organization that I grew up in. So there's a comfort here, with all the people, and I love this place, and my wife loves the city of Baltimore. So it was really easy decision.
And you know so many of the key pieces on this Ravens defense already. Players like Tyus Bowser and Patrick Queen have been among those to post their excitement for your return. What does it mean to you to know that you have their support in this role?
It means the world to me, at least. I mean, those guys are great players, and they're really charged with kind of ongoing the Raven legacy of defense. And I think they're the right guys to do it, and really smart guys. They're fun to be around, fun to coach. I'm really just excited to start working with them, honestly, because we have a lot of work to do.
One of the things that really stood out to me from this past season was how complimentary Heisman finalist and potential #1 draft pick Aiden Hutchinson was of you. He really credited you with his breakout season. And here in Baltimore, you'll have plenty of young talent to work with. So for you, what is it important for you to do to help develop them into that Pro Bowl level talent with like players you've coached before, like Matthew Judon, CJ Mosley, to name a few?
Yeah, those are all great players, and those guys, they make you seem a lot smarter than you probably are. So it's great to have great players. I think it's really important. Like when we first got to Michigan, it was like, let's get to know that. Let's talk to them. Like, how do you guys see it? What did you see last year? What are your goals moving forward? So those are the same conversations we're going to have here. And once you understand where they're coming from and the things that they want to do, you can get on the same page and you can move forward together. And I think that's it's just the right thing to do and how to go about it. So we'll do the same thing here.
You're credited with one of the biggest turnarounds in college football last season with Michigan's defense. So what did you learn in your year as coordinator there that you'll be able to apply to your role here in Baltimore?
Credited makes me feel a little uncomfortable. Like, I think what people have to understand, what kind of turned the whole thing around at Michigan was the guys were really hungry. Jim kind of created the vision and created the footprint for us to go do it. And we had alignment throughout the whole organization. And it was kind of my job to help create that alignment on the defensive side of the ball. And then it just kind of snowballed throughout the entire year, and you felt the buy-in, and everyone was together and cohesive. So it's the same thing here. I mean, all those principles on how to do those things and communicate are the things that we learned here from John and from Wink and from Dean. So it's really, we're going to try to do that again. We're going to have a lot of new faces around, and there'll be new players, and they need to understand the standard it takes to play Raven football.
Sure, you mentioned that there will be new faces this season, and this Ravens defense in 2022 could look a lot different than the one we saw on the field in 2021. Mm-hmm. Key guys returning from injury, possible free agency moves, maybe retirement. So what do you envision as this team's defensive identity in 2022 and beyond?
Well, it's pretty simple here. I mean, this is the Raven way of playing football. The term "play like a Raven" exists, for a reason. I'm blessed to understand what that means, and we're going to be charged with explaining that and letting those guys understand what that standard looks like on the field. It's kind of one of those things where it's hard to describe, but you know it when you see it. I think we all know it when we see it on the field, and that'll be our goal to, create that again this year.
So you're now the youngest defensive coordinator in the NFL. No pressure, but what does that opportunity mean to you?
So, I didn't know that, and then someone told me, and it's just like, okay, I mean, there's other things going on rather than
Sure.
like seeing how old I am. It's really just the opportunity. I mean, it has nothing to do with age. I mean, we're going to be judged by what shows up on tape. So, 34 now. I mean, this is a dream come true. But like we have a big responsibility here, to play a certain style of ball and to win games and to help the team win. So that's really what our focus is on.
For you personally, what would you say your coaching style is?
That's a tough one. I mean, to me, it's like by each individual player. I didn't play the game at a high level by any means. Like I tell people I retired in high school, but I always wanted to understand the why. I felt like if the player can understand why we're doing certain things, why we're asking, why we're in this call, just kind of the background behind it, and you can teach them the game more, to me that lets you play faster, plays more confident. So we're just trying to get our guys to make it as simple as possible and so they can go play the right way.
Seems like that's a good leadership style no matter what your career is. And I'm tempted to ask you which Harbaugh brother you liked coaching with more, but instead,
Plead the fifth.
I'll ask you, what's one thing you learned from both of them, each Jim and John?
I had a great conversation with Jim, after I decided, to come here. And the thing I respect most about how Jim leads the team is how much he loves his players. It's like as much as he tries to hide it, he cannot hide it. I mean, he loves his team and he has their back at all times. So that was something that I've definitely learned from Jim. Like, okay, it's okay to love your guys, Not that, and John does too, but like that was an experience when you're in a defensive coordinator position. You're so close to the head coach at all times that it was like, man, like, okay, he's really guiding his decisions on what's best interest for the players.
At Michigan, you were tasked with slowing down some of the top offenses in college football. And here at the Ravens, you'll be tasked with slowing down some of the top young talent in the NFL, including quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. So how do you plan for that?
It's a great question. We're thinking the same thing in Ohio State week, but I think it's a process, right? I mean, there's great players throughout the league. I mean, these are the best of the best in the whole world. And, we're going to have great players too. And we're trying to build a scheme right now that will accentuate what they do well. And I think as you understand what you're good at as a team, it's always kind of a back and forth. Okay, what do we do well versus how can we take advantage of what, maybe we can slow them down. So it's a process, right? I mean, like defending Mahomes will be different than defending Joe Burrow, so on and so forth. So it'll be a game by game basis, but it'll be a team effort for sure.
Speaking of a team effort, Coach Harbaugh said Monday how excited he is to build this defense with you. What does his support and trust in you mean to you?
Oh man, it means everything. I mean, to hear that, if you have the confidence of John Harbaugh, that gives you confidence. I mean, that's big time right there. So anytime you go into a new role, you're like, okay, am I really ready for this? That sort of thing. But when someone like that backs you and is behind you, it kind of gives you the next gear to be like, okay, let's rock and roll.
Thanks so much for the time, Mike. We're so excited for you. Best of luck.
Thanks, Cassie.